will see a lot of senior hiring which is active in the market. Most of this hiring, senior hiring, do not really come on internet. There are certain reasons to it, because obviously because of the competitions, because of a lot of factors. 75% of the tech companies have started hiring now, especially in the field of cybersecurity, AI, data analytics, cloud computing. These are the most demanded skills right now in the market. Why you should be hiring me? If you're able to give them this answer, because this is exactly what we are looking for. People like me, this is what we are looking for. This is where you need to stress more on, and if you're able to do that well, you can crack this interview.
Are you super excited to meet one of my favorite? One of the person who has a vast experience in recruitment, in consultancy, in job search, in interviews, in resume development. He has mastered it all and he continues to learn, continues to inspire. Would like to put your hands together for one and only Dixit Hegde.
So I think you guys have already got an idea as in what my profile is. Yes, I am the CEO and founder of a global talent acquisition firm called Talent Stack. We're based out of Mumbai. And I also run an HR tech firm, which is my PM, which is my portfolio manager. So basically, it's a reverse recruitment, what we do in HR tech product. Talking about Talent Stack in specific, we work with more than 2,000 companies in India and abroad, any active point in time, and help them hire one of the best talents around the globe. When I say best talents, maybe it in the field of engineering, maybe it in the field of finance, recruitment, HR, anything, design, hiring. But the major, I would say, the forte of strength lies in the internet hiring space, what we do. If you have seen our website, Talent Stack, and I'm not really sure, but you will see the kind of clients we worked with. You name any internet company today, right from Dream11 to Swiggy to Zomato, all are my clients. And most of them exclusively work with us for their hiring needs. Before Talent Stack, just to give you a little brief about myself, I have spent a decade in this industry where, though I started off not as a talent acquisition person, but started off as a business guy, business development, when I entered this industry, recruitment. But I don't know, there was something which really excited me about this industry and which has really helped me grow in this industry. I have been one of the core persons who have helped a few major internet companies in India hire core people. When I say core people, right from co-founders to CTOs to CFOs, everyone. If I want to name few internet companies who've reached you, who are unicorns today, companies like maybe Dream11, No Broker, Nika, I have closed some co-founder level positions with them and exclusively worked with directly the founders of the company. There is something about recruitment which really excites me, and one of the reasons why I was so successful in running and starting my own business, Talent Stack, in this space is because of the network what I've created in the last 1 decade. Uh, I am personally connected to nothing less than 25,000 companies in India and abroad today, where my connection is primarily with the directors and the decision makers or anyone above HR and general manager HR. So it is just not about hiring a recruitment. It is about strategizing and understanding the global need when it comes to hiring. So entire talent acquisition, when it comes to understanding or maybe planning the hiring strategies for the companies, have been part of everything, right from plan A to the plan Z when it comes to execution. But just to give you a little more insights in how did I enter this industry, and just to give you a little more about my background, where I started. Almost all of us, even I, belong to a middle class family. When I started working at a very young age, I would say after 10th is when I started working. I still remember my first salary was 1,600 rupees those days. And it's been good 14 years. I'm still working. Today, my daily expense is maybe 4 times of it, but I still value that 1,600 rupees is because of the fact, the energy, the kind of, I would say, the hard work what I've put in to reach here where I stand today, where I sit today, and I'm running a successful business, can never let me forget where my roots stand. But after reaching here, it is very important that I realize that the decade experience, what I've gained through my working in the last 12, 15 years in different industry and domain, it is really important for me to share this information, share my thought process, share my entire experience with people so that people don't have to really spend that many years working and reaching where they really plan to do. I see Vishal's program as one of the game changers in the market today, where it is really helping thousands and thousands of people build their career, build themselves to what they have not even realized before getting into some program like this, right? I see a tagline which says 2x salary, but trust me, this, as far as I understand, this program can not limit you to just 2x salary, but can also take you to 3x or 4x if you really understand the entire agenda, if you really understand the entire mindset towards why we're doing this and what is the whole process. And if you're able to take this as a challenge and just not an opportunity because you've paid for something, right? And this is the whole point why even I have being part of something like this. I'm sure most of you all must have already got connected with someone called Tushar. So Tushar is part of my PM, which is my another business. So my PM is helping you all build your profile, build your resume, and also going to help you with finding relevant jobs in the market, which is a primary goal. But before getting into all of that, I think it's the most important reason why we all got connected here is to understand what's really happening in the market today, which is the job market. I'm sure most of you all must have heard a lot of news around in the market stating that the the industry is not really doing good. There are a lot of attritions, a lot of companies downsizing, a lot of companies are throwing out people, letting go of people, which is all true. This is all true. This is happening. This has all happened. Okay, if we talk about the start of this year, especially, we've seen a sudden drop in terms of hiring trends, especially in the IT sector, where we any given point in time, if I want to talk about it in specific talent stack, we work on nothing less than 4,000 to 5,000 mandates every month, active mandates. That has come down to directly 2,000 mandates in the IT field, right? So that is all true. This is not false news. But when we all started, there was a lot of reasons behind it. Obviously, the global tensions, which has caused most of the companies take certain strong decisions in terms of understanding the planning and the hiring needs around the globe, understanding if it is really important, right? But while they all were doing it, no one was aware that how long this situation is going to take and to correct, and what are the correctional measures which has to be taken. Even if you talk about right now the current situation, especially countries like Israel, country like Palestine, a lot of countries supporting them, there are global tension. There is no doubt there are global tension, but to be very honest, Indian market is still doing fantastic compared to any other global market. There is a huge potential in Indian market, and that is why you will see lot of countries showing a lot of interest in the Indian market right now. As I stated, the start of the year, we saw a downfall in the IT sector hiring, but at the same time, we saw a direct spike in non-tech hiring, especially in the fields like hospitality, insurance, oil and gas, banking, real estate. All these industries had really given a good boost to the entire economy. On top of it, has added a lot of hiring needs in the market. So I am sure most of you all belong to certain industry and domains, especially when I have to talk about IT in specific or maybe HR in specific, right? But let's understand the fact that though we belong to certain industries, but it doesn't mean that we have to restrict ourselves to only that domain and that industry. There are other industries and other domains as well who are ready to hire someone like you. It's just that you guys have spent a decade or maybe years working in some industry where it doesn't give you a fair chance to understand what's really happening in other industry and domain. Correct? So this is where I've come into picture to give you a little brief in terms of understanding what is happening and what is that we're supposed to do at this point in time, and what can really help us take this to the next level and achieve our goals of being a better version of ourselves in the coming time, right? Now, talking about industries, I really already mentioned that a lot of industries were performing, that certain industries were really doing good. But again, this IT sector has again restarted. You will see a lot of these IT companies, especially the ones which we call it services company, have also started hiring, especially in the mid senior and senior level. You will come If you see, most of the hirings are happening at the senior level right now, is because most of these companies are planning on what next for the business, how they can grow their business to the next level at such point in time where the global tensions, obviously they need the experts in the field, right? So that is why you will see a lot of senior hiring which is active in the market. Most of this hiring, senior hiring, do not really come on internet. There are certain reasons to it, because obviously because of the competitions, because of a lot of factors which really impacts this company to not make it public in terms of what they're hiring for and what they're planning for. But to be very honest, I would say in specific, if I have to talk about tech companies, 75% of the tech companies have started hiring now, especially in the field of cybersecurity, AI, data analytics, cloud computing. These are the most demanded skills right now in the market. The only differentiator here is not that we don't have the pool to hire these people. It's just that most of the people outside, people like us, who belong to this industry, who belong to the skill set, do not really know how to go about applying for these jobs. And even if you know how to go about applying for this job, you do not really know how to go about presenting yourself as one of the best candidate or one of the best profile for these opportunities, right? And this is where the entire differentiation comes into picture. I see most of these people getting hired at some companies. Maybe the technical skills are not really good, but they exactly know how to present themselves in a way where companies really understand the value add of hiring someone like them. Second, companies really understand the need, why we should hire him. So they are able to present themselves in a way which really creates a differentiator in front of the HRs or the talent acquisition or the hiring managers out there, right? So this is exactly why I wanted to cover this session today, is because see, we all understand one thing is we still live in a time where the entire hiring decision right at point A starts from a resume, right? It is all about resume. The HRs, the TA guys, the founders or the directors of the company does not really know who you are. It is a resume which has to give them a fair idea. But I'm sure most of us, if we see our resumes today, we will see resumes with a content of around 3 pages, 5 pages. I've seen resumes with 10 pages content. I'll be very honest, guys. I'll be very honest. In Talent Stack in specific, I have interviewed more than, I don't know, maybe 1,500, 2,000 people till date in the last 6, 7 years. And I don't know how many thousand people in my throughout my career. But if I really have to spend more than 20 seconds to 30 seconds on a resume, it's a reject for me. Because somebody, if is not able to give me a fair idea about what he is or who he is in that 20, 30 seconds, then I'm not really sure if that person can really do good that in my work. Correct. So it is very important that you build your resume in a way where it gives a fair idea to somebody on the other side, understand who you are, especially in terms of your background. I still see people writing so many things in their resume, men write like 50 odd skill sets, which I'm sure they know those skill sets, they've worked on it, but not necessary that you are champ on those skill sets, right? You belong to certain domain and industry where you're very strong with certain skill set, but not necessarily all of them, correct? But you still find it important to write everything on a resume and highlight it in a way that people get confused looking at a resume. Okay, who is he? Let's see, somebody with cybersecurity would definitely want to write cybersecurity. I'd want to write, should write like I have built things. Maybe I have built a security network and also implemented a lot of new protocols as per the government standards or as per the international standards. But they go to an extent where the right skill sets, what they must have worked 10 years back in their career, which is not practically right. You shouldn't be doing that. There has to be some primary skill set, which has to be the highlighter, and secondary skill set, which should definitely give a little bit more detail about you, but not everything all together in one single page. According to me, a CV should not go beyond 2 page on a higher side. On a higher side. 1 page, very good. But I completely understand that after working for 10, 12 years or 15 years in certain domain and industry, you want to highlight a lot of things about yourself. You want to mention a lot of things you must have done, a lot of things you've achieved, a lot of accomplishments what you must have received. But trust me, there are ways to highlight that. There are ways to mention that. But if you believe in just writing everything on one single page, obviously you cannot cover everything in 2 pages, right? If you must have had a conversation with Tushar from my team, which most of you all must have already had, or few who have not, maybe in the coming weeks, you will have conversation with my team, not just Tushar, but a lot of people from my team. You will really understand that the resume what you carry today does not really give weightage to your experience, does not really give weightage to your knowledge, but it creates a lot of confusion at the person at the other side to really understand whom you are, right? This is about resume, guys. So make sure that you have a very crisp and short resume, because if you mention everything on a resume, there is no need for a person to take your interview. Because if you're going to repeat the same thing, what is there in your resume, it is not going to make sense to nobody, right? So keep your resume crisp, mention things which are really important, but keeping in mind that we're not taking this beyond 2 pages, which is the most important factor here. 1 page, nothing like it, but 2 page on a higher side. Like I said, if I have to spend more than 20 seconds on a resume, it is a reject. Same thing works for HRs. Let's understand one more thing, guys. See, most of the companies who are hiring today, right? Let's say if it is for an engineering team, the engineering manager exactly knows what is the kind of person he wants. But when it comes down to the hiring manager, maybe the hiring manager belongs to a tech domain or a background with tech, where he understands the entire technicality or the skill set what the engineering manager would be looking out for. But when it comes down to a junior person, let's say an HR or a talent acquisition people, these people do not really understand the skill set that well, do not really understand, are you a, a core person in this industry or domain or not? The only way for them to understand if this person is relevant is when they see certain keywords on your resume. Now, what are these keywords? Like I said, skill set is one keyword. But along with that, if let's say today, if somebody really wants to hire an engineering manager, right? But what are the things they look out for in an engineering manager? Obviously, the skill sets, maybe someone with core Java, someone with who's built in their product end to end, a lot of things. But they also look at some person who has experience or expertise of managing team, experience of hiring one of the best guys in the market, experience of delivering projects on time. So there's so many aspects that comes along when they take hiring decisions. But do we really mention something like this on a resume? Or is there a way to mention something like this on a resume? We do not understand that, right? So it is very important that we don't just not give a weightage to the keywords, the skill set in specific, but also write things which should match your position, that should match your level. If you are somebody sitting at a VP position, you need to understand what things are really important in the market. What are the most important thing companies are really looking for? If you do not mention something like this, obviously your chances of getting shortlisted at a resume stage goes down by 50% directly. You may be the right fit for the company. You are the best person they can ever have. But how would company know unless they meet you, unless they talk to you? Correct? So resume is a key. If you do not really present yourself well in your resume, if you do not really know how to attract a TA guy, call you, how to make an HR person call you in the first 30 seconds or 1 minute of their glance on the CV, then you will obviously fail 50% of the time. Most of the time, you're going to fail getting your profile shortlisted at the company's end. Then comes interviews. But before interviews, let's understand these keywords in more detail. Now, I'm sure most of you all must have heard platforms like Naukri, Shine, Indeed, LinkedIn, right? Do you guys think these are human beings? No, right? These are technologies. These are platforms. These are core technology platforms. Do you think Naukri reads your CV? No, it doesn't. Do you think Shine reads your CV? Absolutely not. Do you think LinkedIn is so smart that it is reading everything on your profile and understanding how you are the best fit for whatever company? No. How do they understand what you are and what you're looking for is when they see some keywords on your resume. All these technologies work on a common tech, which is called semantic search. Yes, somebody has mentioned something called as ATS again. Now, what is ATS? ATS is an applicant tracking system, right? Which most of the big companies out there are using in today's time. But like Naukri or Shine or like LinkedIn or ATS, all the systems work on something called a semantic search. Now, what is semantic search? Let's say you are somebody who is a machine learning expert. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if all of you all are from the tech background. Most of you all must be. But people who are not from the tech background, machine learning is technology which has been used globally today. One of the most demanding skill set in the market, which which is the core for artificial intelligence, I would say. If you are somebody with machine learning expertise, if you just mention machine learning in your CV and write a lot of things about the project, what you worked on, everything, what in detail, not necessary that the ATS or Naukri can fetch your CV. Not necessary that Naukri will know you are an expert in that field. But if you repeat certain keywords, which are the most demanding keywords in the market, like say machine learning is the most demanding keyword, NLP, which is one of the skill set in machine learning, is the most demanding keyword again. If you mention this keyword multiple times, the semantic search works in a way where he understands ki boss, if he's writing so many things about the specific keyword, that means he's an expert in the field. And this is where your CV gets handpicked. Let's compare this with a non-tech role. Let's say you are an HR, right? Now, if there is a company who's hiring for a talent acquisition role, your experience and background has been human resource manager as an HR manager, but you've also looked after talent acquisition. You've also done detail work, and your experience is majorly in the talent acquisition field. But if you just mention hiring and talent acquisition as one single words in a CV, this systems, this technology will never be able to take your CV and recommend them as the most prominent CV in the market to the talent acquisition guys in the company or to the HRs in the company. So we really need to understand when you build your resume, it is not the language of the resume which makes a lot of sense. You must, if it is about language, you will see a lot of free tools in the market like worded.com, word.ai, a lot of these free tools where you put your ready-made CV and it will build build a two-page CV for you. When you will look at the CV, you will be, wow, okay, wow, this is so nice. Two-page CV, it is going to do wonders for me. But honestly, guys, it will not. We need to understand this. All these platforms are global platforms where these resumes work on a global scale. If you are applying for some website, which is a global platform like let's say maybe Monster in US or whatever, something of that sort, then this resumes will work here. The Indian platforms have been built in a very, very different manner. The target audience are very different. The mindset of people are very different here, right? So entire search purely depends on keywords and not on the language of the resume. Like I said, if I have to spend 20 seconds or 30 seconds on a resume, what do you think? What all things I can read on a resume? Hardly anything, hardly 3 lines, right? So I'm not looking at your content on the resume. I'm again, as a human being, I'm looking for certain content, certain keywords because I know what I want to hire. And if I don't see certain things on a resume in the first 20 seconds or 30 seconds on a resume, right, then it doesn't really make sense to go further. Rather, I will look at other resumes which have certain similar things to what I'm looking for and spend another minute to see if he's really relevant or not. Correct? So we need to understand that keyword plays a major role. And this is exactly where my team will be able to help you build your resume in a way where you will be able to compare it with other tools out there. And you will see that if you build a resume on Worded, the score would be somewhere around 50, 60. But when that has been built by our experts here, keeping the keywords in mind, the score would be 75, 80 plus, right? It is because of the reason that we exactly know how this technologies work. We exactly know how these platforms operate. And we belonging to this industry, we exactly know how the HRs or the hiring managers are looking at your CV. Correct? Now, it is also important that when we build our resume, see, most of the time we forget the fact that, let's say, it is just not resume. It's about you calling somebody for a job opportunity. You're talking to some HR out there, where you want to describe yourself as who you are. I don't know why, but most of us talk about everything. We want to cover everything in that first 1 minute of a conversation, as if we can just dictate a CV in that 1 minute. And the HR will be wowed, amazed with the fact, oh, this person knows everything. Let me just interview and hire him. No, guys, this is not the way to approach any HRs or talent acquisition guys. Understand the fact that these HRs or talent acquisition or people are reaching out to you is because they've seen something relevant in your CV, right? So what are these most relevant things what the HRs look out for in a resume? The first most important thing what they look out for a resume is your position in the company, your designation in the company, the department you belong to. If it is not clear, I still see people writing 5-6 words in the designation right now just to exaggerate more: digital transformation, digital marketing expert, growth hacker. This all belongs to marketing, I understand. But why do you have to confuse others and people at the other end Because if it is someone senior, he understand, okay, you are talking about marketing in specific and you are an expert in marketing. But understand, most of the CVs are getting shortlisted by somebody who's a junior out there with far more lesser experience compared to what you are. And if you don't keep it simple, it is going to be difficult for them to understand, ki boss, who you are and what are you really looking forward to. So really need to make sure that you prepare your first 3 4 line statement in such a simple word, and keeping the content in mind, that it is easier for anyone, even if it is a founder of the company or the director of the company, the engineering manager, the hiring manager, or a junior talent acquisition guy, easier for anyone to understand who you are as a person and what role or position will fit you, right? So that is why it is very important that you cover your position. You write your position in a very clear words as a title of your resume. And when you're talking to somebody over the phone or on the video call, you clearly mention what your position is in the company. That is the most important factor. Now, once you've clearly mentioned your position in the company, the next second thing what you need to keep in mind when you're highlighting your profile is you write about your achievements. When I say achievements, is not the certification part of it or the recognition what you've got in the company. It is about your, I would say, your involvement in the business. Let's say you are a business development guy. You are a head of business development for the company. You've been primarily been hired to sell companies' product or services, or get clients for the business. That is a primary role you've been hired for. But if you're making your resume, I fail to understand why business development guys don't really mention what has been their achievement in the business. Where did they stand? Where were they able to take the business the day when they joined? The company's turnover sitting at 100 crores. I was able, easily be able to take that to $150 million in the next 6 months of my acquisition, where I've acquired more than this 1050 business, which was worth $50 million. These are your achievements. This is what you were able to get on the table, you were able to get for the business. But most of us want to write things like, I've managed team of 10, I've got sales for the company. Boss, that is what you've been hired for. What is your expertise in this? You are somebody sitting at a head business development level and you're talking about your responsibility in your CV. That makes absolutely no sense, right? So you need to write about your achievements, what value add you've got in the business, working with the business. Even if you're not from a business development background, even if you are a techie, for a matter of fact, you are an engineering manager, or maybe let's say you are tech lead, whatever. There's certain things you can definitely highlight in your resume, like what is the kind of project you worked for and what has been your core responsibility and where have you succeeded, what have you done to succeed, how soon were you able to complete the project even before the guidelines were expecting you to do it, how did you manage to do it, maybe in some short form. But even if you're talking to some HRs, make sure you talk about things like this rather than talking about things like, as a tech lead, I've managed team of 8 members, where 2 members were junior Java developer, 3 members were designer. Boss, you're a senior person, correct? You're a senior person. If you're a senior person, you've been hired to take some responsibility. And being a person with responsibility, you've achieved something. You need to elaborate more on your achievements rather than talking about just your responsibility, which I see in 90% of the resumes today. People talk about their responsibilities. The job description has to cover that, not the resume. Please understand that very well. So if you've been able to achieve something, I'm sure the business is going to recognize you, the management is going to recognize you and give you something in return. Maybe in terms of, not really, see, it's not always monetary gains which you get if you're able to do something good for the business, but a lot of recognition within the business, which really helps you, motivates you to do something better in your life. But there is always a way to put this forward when you're going for an interview. And you should definitely talk about things like that, because if you've been successful enough to get something from the business or from the management or from the senior teams, it is really important that you highlight that, because this is something you've really worked hard for. This gives a very clear picture to somebody at the other end. Ki, boss, this is a hardworking individual. He is somebody who has a very right mindset towards business. He is somebody who's just not looking for a 9 to 7 job. So if you're not able to give this idea to somebody at the other end, you will always, I would not want to use fail, it's a negative word, but not really succeed in getting your profile shortlisted and reaching to a stage where you're having some final conversations with the managements of the company or very senior folks of the company, right? So it is very important that you describe it, but keeping in mind that when we writing it in a resume, we don't make it that detailed that it is only the achievements and not the work what we've done in the company. And when we're talking about it, we just stress more on the achievements, on the position, uh, the core responsibilities, along with what additional responsibilities we took, which was not part of a job profile, but we did it because the business demanded for something like this. So we don't wait for the position to come in. We don't wait for the senior position or the promotion to happen. We are such a responsible person that we are able to take additional responsibility whenever there is a need, right? So it is important that we understand that we highlight a profile in such a way and we talk about all of this during the interviews, which will always give us an upper hand to get shortlistings and reach a stage where we're having conversations around monetary and position and all of that, right? Just to give you one incident, what really happened a few months back. I think I've shared this with Gitanjali and team in our last meet. There was a candidate with one of my clients. Now, this candidate comes from a good pedigree. Now, when I say pedigree, is the good educational background. He comes from an IIT background with a year experience. He was sitting at somewhere around 9.5, 10 lakhs salary. He was underpaid. Obviously, he's an IIT guy, should be paid nothing less than 12, 15 as a bare minimum salary, but he was underpaid. But he really liked what he was doing. He was somebody who was working for some fintech company. I have one of my fintech client where this guy got shortlisted, and my client was really keen on hiring for someone like him. So my client directly mentioned that we are ready to meet whatever his expectation is, but we want him to join immediately. We don't want to lose out on this candidate. So we offered him a compensation of around 15 lakhs. The guy was really happy about it and he really keen on joining the company. But it just happened that his current company retained him by giving a compensation of 18 lakhs, which is directly 100% on growth on his compensation. The guy got really excited. He was really happy with the product, what he was working on, really keen on continuing that. But my client didn't give up. We went to an extent of offering him 22 lakhs package, 22 lakhs package from 9 lakhs to 22 lakhs. The guy got shocked and he was like, I think that is it. I don't want to stretch this more. I'm keen on joining your client's company. I think they're building a nice product. And I'm really looking forward to join this as soon as possible. Please let me know what are the next steps. It's just 2 days down the road and he gets another offer from a big giant, which is Amazon. And Amazon has offered him a compensation of 32 lakhs. 32 lakhs from 9 lakhs to 32 lakhs. This is where my client had to act smart. And he said, fair, we'll not lose on this candidate. We'll hire him, but will not counter offer him now. We'll wait for the last week of his employment. I am sure he's going to join Amazon, right? Let's counter offer him on the last week of his employment with the current organization, which is just 2 weeks from that day. We are counter offer that guy a compensation of 36 lakhs. You understand the amount of growth in his salary, what he's already been offered so far? It's 9 lakhs to 36 lakhs. But we forgot that we were competing with a big giant, a monster out there, which was Amazon, who's got a lot of money, obviously. Amazon came strong and they directly offered him 40 lakhs as a compensation. This is where we all got scared, ki boss, let's not get into this fight because this is unreal. 9 lakhs to 40 lakhs, this is unreal, boss. This is just not happening. This is what my team had to say. When I got to know about something like this, me and my partner Atif, we were like, let's give it a try. Let's talk to our client and see what he's got to say. I don't know, maybe my client was really in a very good mood or what was really hitting him so hard that he was ready to fight. This is where my client wanted to talk to us, me and Atif, and they involved us into this matter. And they said, this is my extreme budget, Atif. This is my extreme budget, Dixit. I leave it up to you what you want to offer him. I want this guy in 1 week. So this is where we went on a call with the person. So I'm talking about not few months, I would say a few years back. So this guy, though he got one of the best offer from Amazon, but somewhere he was not really sure, that 1% doubt, not 99, 1% doubt about Amazon, because Amazon is a built product. There's nothing new to be built in Amazon. Even if there is some, maybe some extension to the ready-made product, what they already have. But he always believed in building product from scratch. He wanted to do something really good, which really excited my client, which really excited Amazon to hire someone like him. He is somebody who's worked on a product from scratch, built things end to end, took things as his responsibility and done it not as a job. Obviously, hiring someone like him is not a liability to a company, but he's going to be an asset to the organization, because if this person turns out to be right, he can be a Sundar Pichai tomorrow for my business. Because this is where Sundar Pichai was able to join at a ground level and reach to a CEO level of Google. Correct? Obviously, it took years to reach there, but he was an asset to the company day one, and he's still an asset to Google, right? When we went on a call, we just asked him one question. Let's be honest. Let's keep monetary gains, what you're getting from Amazon or my clients, aside for a while. And let's understand the fact, what is really important for you in today's time. What are you really looking for in your next switch? The guy was so sure about what he really wants to do. His statement was, "Sir, it's not the brand which really excites me. It is the work what really excites me. I see Amazon is an established product. I'm sure they're hiring me for a certain task because they're building some UPI integrations with the Amazon Pay product and all of that. So they want me to be part of that team. But still, it is an established organization where there are going to be maybe more than 5,000 people like me working for the organization. But with your client, I see myself as the only person who will be joining as the first resource to build something like this for them. And obviously, I will have an opportunity to build team under me. But tomorrow, years down the road, maybe 3 years or 5 years down the road, I can proudly say it that I have built this product. I see potential in this fintech company. I see potential in this business, that this business can be a unicorn in the coming years. And if I am the one who's built the product, you can understand my value 3 years or 5 years down the road. It is not 40 lakhs, sir. It is the work what really matters me. You know what we did? We offered him 45 fixed and 3 lakhs of joining bonus and asked him to join in 1 week, which he did. And he rejected Amazon offer. We could have got him for 42 lakhs also. We could have got him for 40 lakhs instead. But we really didn't want to give him that feeling, ki, boss, what you're thinking is not right. Yes, this company has got potential, has got money, has got strong backing in the market, and they're also ready to compensate for it. If you have the vision to build this, take this to the next level, the company has the vision to take you and to make sure that your needs have been fulfilled. I am sure this is something he did in the interview. I am sure this is where the entire differentiator about this candidate came into picture. Otherwise, university is like IIT. He's not the only one who's been hired from IIT. He's not the only candidate from IIT. What was so good about this candidate is not his tech skills only, not his skill sets in specific. It was the mindset of an individual which really made a difference to the person at the other end, which really excited my client, which really excited someone sitting in Amazon, which really excited his current employer to give him an 100% hike and still retain him somehow. Not that Amazon can't hire other techies, not that his current employer can hire other techies, not that my client cannot hire anyone else, but the mindset is something which is difficult to get in today's time. Trust me, guys, during your interviews, if you're able to create this mindset, this aura, or maybe have this thought in your head, ki, what is the value add you can get for the business? What is that? Why you should be hiring me? If you're able to give them this answer, because this is exactly what we are looking for. People like me, this is what we are looking for. We don't want to know what is your experiences, what are you got, how strong you are in certain skill set, because skills can be developed. Will can't, right? Will, we are buying you for will. We are paying you for your will, because we are sure if you have the right will, you will develop your skills, you will develop yourself, you will grow this business with us and take this to the next level, and be proud about the fact that we built this business together and took this to a very different level, right? One of the reasons why I was successfully able to work with some of the marquee, some of the established, I would say, unicorn startups in my very early days is because I was able to understand this fact very well about the mindset of the founders, which I was able to communicate clearly to the potential employees out there. I was able to communicate this so well to them, ki boss, though you carry certain skills, but there are certain things which you do not really talk about. There are certain things what the founder really wants to know about you. There are certain things what the engineer manager is looking forward to. This is where you need to stress more on. And if you're able to do that well, you can crack this interview. And this is where I was able to close, I would say, 100% of the positions, which was exclusively with me, with most of the clients like Ola, Uber, Nike. I have closed CTO position for Nike those days. I have closed certain very key position people who are sitting with equities today in companies like No Broker. So I was one of the persons who have helped most of these companies hire one of the best talents in the very early stage, and today they are unicorns, because these are the people who took this company from certain $1 million valuation to now billions of dollars of valuation, right? And this is where the differentiator is. This is where your demand can be fulfilled. It is not about just demanding for 2x salary or 3x salary or 4x salary. It is the value add what you can get to the business. And if you're able to communicate that well with your words, your compensation, your expectation is just going to be numbers for the company. But if you're not able to describe yourself or maybe portray yourself in a way where you put value to the business, then it is all about negotiation. It's all about itna nahi yaar, itne mein aa jao, utne mein aa jao. Come on, we are not selling some product out here. We're coming with a background of experience. We're coming with a background of certain good skills. On top of it, the most important factor, we have the right mindset for your business. We have the right attitude for your business. Come what may, we will get the work done. Come what may, I will put in whatever it takes to get this from point A to point Z. All I need is your support while I'm doing that. If you're able to describe that in simpler words, you can easily achieve 2x or 3x or 4x, or like my candidate, 9 lakhs to 48 lakhs. And this all happened in 20 days, by the way. He didn't really have to switch jobs for 10 years to reach from 9 lakhs to 48 lakhs, right? So this was a short, real incident. And this is just not one incident. This has happened so many times with us. And even today it is happening. I would say most of the hiring, especially in the tech space, what my team does, we're able to close positions with nothing less than 70% to 200% hike in salaries. One reason is because we work with internet companies, obviously, where they're looking for one of the best guys, not really services companies, where they have a budget constraint, where they have mindset constraint, where they do not really not really sure in terms of what they want. It's just the skill set which really attracts them. But with our clients, this is very different. Now, this is about resumes and interviews. Guys, understand one thing, that it is not about the industry what you belong. It is about your understanding on the industry, your growth in the industry, how fast you were able to scale the business being in certain position, and what has been your contribution. If you're able to highlight these 4 points well, your resume and interview will get you to that compensation discussion in no time. I hope you guys have understood how important resume and really works, and how important it is for you to go beyond your standard interview dialogues. See, we all face. There's one more thing which I wanted to add here. I'm sure you all will be able to answer. What is the most common question being asked by the HRs today when you go for an interview or when you are on a video call? What is the most common question? Tell me. Most common and simple question. You can mention that on a chat. Tell me about yourself. 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 Wow. I see 99% people mentioning the same thing. Now tell me, how many of you can describe yourself in 5 lines, and that 5 lines is so sharp that I would want to know more about you? I'm sure few of them maybe, or maybe hardly anyone. But why? This is my question. Why? When we know what is the question which has come to us, Why can't we be prepared with it? Tell me about yourself. Tell me the three best quality about yourself. Tell me what can you get on the table. Tell me why should we hire you. These are the most common questions. When you know these are the most common questions, have a script in place. A script which can just change the entire thing for you, right from that CV shortlisting to directly final discussion. Why can't you do that for yourself? But I am sure none of us are really prepared to answer this question with that level of confidence and that level of content which is really needed to convince somebody at the other end to take you to directly to the final discussion. Even if we know this question is definitely going to come. I don't know why. So there's so many some things like this which happens during an interview round, but we still don't really give importance to things like this. And we proudly say that I'm preparing myself for interview tomorrow. What are you preparing for? To repeat your CV? To repeat the same thing what the person at the other end must have already seen in your CV? How does that make sense? How can that make sense? The first most important thing in Vishal's seminar is differentiator. I really like this point when I still remember the first time when I got connected with Vishal and when Vishal was trying to give me an understanding about what this entire session is all about and how do they cover things. And the first thing is the differentiator. And this is where he got my attention. This is where he got my attention. Differentiator. This was the first person I was talking to was talking about differentiator and not talking about we work on communication skills. We tell them to how to prepare for interview. There's so many people who do that in the market. So many people. If if this really works, why are people unemployed? Why do I see so many people actively hunting for job and spend 6 months of their life just hunting for job? Is because even if they prepare you with language or maybe if they prepare you for interviews, you still don't know how what you have to talk. Common questions like tell me about yourself. You don't know. How can you cover that in 5 statements? So my suggestion to you today is before getting into lot detail about this interview, jobs, expectation, compensation, let's work on the basic and make it so strong that it automatically takes you to the next level. And then your core competencies or your entire experience should create that wow feeling for person somebody at the other end. So have answers to these common questions like tell me about yourself. If you have to talk about yourself more than 5 or 6 statements, it's boring, according to me. I'm being very honest because I don't want to know more about you. And if you're not able to describe yourself in 5 statements, it's a waste of my time and your time. If you cannot tell me why I should be hiring you in simpler words, where you don't talk about things like, I am hardworking, I work really hard, sir, I can work 7 days a week. Come on, guys, I'm hiring you, right? So if I'm hiring you, I'm not hiring you because you're ready to work 7 days. I'm not hiring you because you can work day and night for me. I am hiring you to fill that gap in my business, which is not helping us grow. I'm hiring you to add value to my business so that we can take this to the next level. But what are we talking about? We're hardworking. As if you wouldn't have mentioned that, I would have rejected you. Correct. So this is important, right? See, we it's not see it's not really difficult. We just need to understand the fact that we are talking to somebody who is a human being at the other end and not a robot who's just expecting you to talk and don't mean it. Right? We all are hardworking. We have all worked hard to reach here where we stand today. And I'm sure it is all because of our hard work. We're able to connect today and talk about our experiences, share about our experiences. But if we have to mention that during an interview for the person to get excited about us, then I'm sorry, but you are not a shortlisted person for me. You may not get shortlisted. I've interviewed, like I said, I've interviewed more than 100 and maybe 1,500, 2,000 people in Talent Stack till date. I would say the ones who got shortlisted in my cabin are the ones who are freshers and not really experienced guys. Because most of them, when they walked inside during the interview rounds, so majorly what we hire for is talent acquisition, recruitment consultants, business development, client acquisition, client success. This is the kind of roles, positions we hire for. If somebody enters my cabin and has to mention things like, oh, I've got 4 years of experience in recruitment, I've done this kind of recruitment, that kind of recruitment, I know this, I know that, I know everything. I may not hire that person in the first place, to be very honest. Because let's forget about him. Somebody with a more than a decade experience in this domain, doesn't know everything. Even I am learning. There is always a learning phase. And if there is somebody who knows everything, then boss, I don't want him. I want somebody who knows something and confident enough to do that, and has is very eager to learn more things, do a lot of research around it, and understand, grow in this domain industry. Not somebody who comes with a baggage of experience of how these things have been done, and at the end of the day is not successful. We've hired so many experienced people in my company in the past, but to be very honest, most of them have failed. The most successful recruiters in my team are the ones who were freshers, who had no clue about what talent acquisition is, who had no clue about recruitment. And today, they're talking to somebody who's sitting at 1 CR CTC, we're talking to somebody with 50, 70 lakh CTC, and so confident on talking about the skills and technologies is because they never had that baggage of experience of how things have been done, and always had that eagerness to learn, develop, and grow, and even learn from their own candidates. Wow, this is so exciting what you're talking about. See, I am a recruiter. I'm not really sure what this technical skill really means, but can you give me a little more idea what this is? This is where the whole mindset comes into picture. You are somebody who has got that eagerness to grow, who is somebody who does not want to sit and do 9 to 7 job and spend years to take certain positions in the business, or spend years to switch, or come to a point where you're clueless, though you spend decade or 2 decades in this domain and industry, sitting a decent package, but still clueless what next for me, right? I'm sure most of you all there are quite elder to me and belong to certain industry and domain. I really respect that. But to be very honest, I have few people in my business who are also few, I think quite a few people who are elder to me. So it is not the age, it is the mindset which really excites me to work with people like this, because they have the right mindset to do things right. And I do not really want to work with somebody who comes with 1 year of experience but is confident that he knows the world in this space, right? If we compare hiring those days when especially my parents used to work, or maybe 15 years, 20 years back, most of the hiring decisions were being took based on qualification, which was the most important criteria for companies to hire. Anyone undergraduate, he's like unpad, seedha, straight. He doesn't fit. He should be doing some clerical job. Straight. Somebody engineer, wow. Somebody doctor, fantastic. Qualification was a title, and people have made that as a differentiator those days. For them, the differentiator was their title. I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, but today's time, differentiator is not your qualification. It is the thought process, it is your mindset about yourself, about the business. And if you're not able to highlight that in the right way and form, this is where you at times you yourself fail to understand that in spite of carrying so many years of experience, why am I not getting shortlisted? Why am I not getting interview calls? Why these people didn't select me? So I hope you have answers to most of your questions, what doubts you must have had.
And thank you, Dikshit. It was a wonderful session. I would say mind blowing as always. Whenever I get a chance to speak to you and we discuss over the thing, something new comes from you, and I am always mind blown by that.